Jalen's heard it all. And what I always have loved about Jalen Hurts as a player, both in college and in the NFL, is he seems to be a real even keel guy. I mean, if you weren't really paying attention, you would probably think he doesn't kind of care. He just seems to be going through, I need to run this play. Okay. On one, ready, break. But the thing is that's his personality. And I'm going to ask him not to change. Be who you are, because it's gotten you this far. I mean, it's funny that a lot of people say, well, he's not a legitimate starting quarterback, but here he is, a legitimate starting quarterback.
Yeah.
What we as what you guys and what you do can help is stop comparing him to what Randall Cunningham or what Lamar Jackson or what Russell Wilson.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Hour number 3, Sports Take. Rob Ellis, Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. And I see the man himself. I see our next guest. And just to give you a little reminder of what an absolute beast Sterling Sharpe was. 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-team All-Pro, College Football Hall of Fame. And, of course, we won't talk about the connection to Barrett Brooks. We don't want to sully the resume by doing it. No, I'm just kidding. Sterling Sharpe, what's happening, Sterling? How you making out, my man? How you doing?
I am so glad you allowed me to join you. And, yeah, don't let me talk about Barrett, because I promised God I was changing. I'm trying to change my soul, and I don't want to go there.
You need an intense golf therapy after your years with Barrett, right?
Did I ever tell you about the first time he was trying out for TV? He was practicing.
Give us all the dirt, Sterling. Give it all up.
I gotta hear this. I have to hear this.
I will. This is all I will say. He had on a nice suit and shirt, and it looked like he had been swimming because he was so nervous and he couldn't get his words out. I was like, hey, I was kind of firm with him and working with him. I was like, hey, don't embarrass me, man. I need you to come on here and do your thing. So, but we worked through it, and obviously it turned out really well because he seems to be doing real good for us.
Well, up there, so I'm up there, and I'm supposed to be breaking down the lag draw with Jason Peters and Shady McCoy. So I'm supposed to be hitting a little machine, showing exactly what I'm talking about, right? So I'm sitting there talking about I'm excited, I'm talking about it, and all of a sudden I turn around, you gonna show us? And I looked at him like, what do you mean show us? So he's going to use the prompt, so he makes a little smiley face in the prompt where I'm supposed to be writing. I'm nervous, I'm sweating bullets. And nobody's going to see it except for us, and I'm sweating bullets, boy.
Those were the good old days, fellas. Those were the good old days.
Hey, Sterling, first of all, I want to say I'm a huge fan of yours. Being from the great state of Wisconsin, I'm from Milwaukee. I loved watching your career, but I curse you for giving Barrett the notion that he could be on television because he's been a pain in my butt ever since. So you're the reason.
I can't take credit for that. He came to me. I would not have recommended that for him. I was not going to rain on his parade. He was like, yeah, man, I want to get into television. And I was like, yeah, that's good, man.
We do it every day, Sterling. There's nothing changed. Yeah.
Hey, I was like, woo, I don't know which network this gonna be on, but it's getting ready to be
So then when he finally got me, so I wasn't nervous again. He said, all right, well, that's a good job. So he said, all right, well, I'm taking all the fellas out golfing. So we're going to play golf. And I'm driving out, and I'm supposed to be driving straight ahead. He is actually at a 90-degree angle from me.
I'm sitting in the car.
And he's 90 degrees from me.
Tell me you didn't hit it. You hit up on him?
He hit it in my car.
No, he did. No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. He was standing over his ball, and I was in my cart, but he would have been facing me. So I'm like, there's no way he can hit me over here.
Wow.
Yeah, he hit me.
Wow.
He did.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he did. And I still take his. and I still answer his calls and texts.
You're a better man than I am.
Oh my God.
I just want you guys to know that God is working deeply in me because
Amen.
Oh my God. So Sterling, where are we playing today, man? I can see you're out on the links. Where are you playing today?
No, you know what? My buddy Colt Ford is in town doing a show. So we were just out. I was out practicing and he came over. We were chipping and putting, and that's all I was doing. I'm playing in my good friend Sean O'Hara's event next week in New Jersey. So I just figured I'd get out of the house. Beautiful weather, as you can see.
Yeah.
We got it going on out here at Cobblestone.
Nice.
So I'm just out here enjoying myself and just practicing.
Well, then tell Sean I'm gonna come up there and check you guys out, man.
No, hey, man, I'm not a messenger. Hey, man, I'm not a messenger, man. You send your messages, hey, so now you big time. You gonna little boy me, and I'm your messenger.
No. Okay. I was just gonna come to see. I wasn't playing golf. I'm coming to see you. I ain't playing
Hey, man,
golf.
if you coming to Sean's, you might as well bring your clubs and play, because that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a good time.
Well, you know what? We're talking about Jalen Hurts and his progression and him becoming, he's going to be the future quarterback here at least next year. And, I can remember you sitting down telling me stories about Brett Favre when he first got to the league, because you used to call it Brett Favre. What do you used to call it?
Lorenzo Favre.
So, go through that, just how you made him a better player and how, looking at A.J. Brown kind of being that guy for him to make him a better player also.
Well, the hard part is Brett and I got to grow in the same system. So his first year as a player was my first year in that system. So we got to grow together. But what I think helped us both was I was experienced in understanding defenses. And what you have in a lot of guys when they start playing with young quarterbacks is they become chalkboard route runners. So run a straight line, and I knew how to manipulate defenses, and so it worked out for actually our team and for us because I was a veteran presence that understood how to run routes. With him learning his way on becoming a starter, becoming a leader, becoming the Brett Favre that we all know and love right now. So where it helped me was having a young guy that I didn't have to talk to. Where I think it helped him was having a veteran receiver that understood how to run routes versus defenses, understanding that people move. And so we were able to find our niche. And what's really funny, I played 3 years with Brett Favre and never had a conversation with him about a route or what I was seeing or what he was seeing. In 3 years, I never had a conversation with him on the sideline during a game. Not one time.
Wow.
Because he had enough people talking to him. And I had a good understanding of what the system was and how we were doing things, that it wasn't any need for he and I to have a conversation or for me to go, yeah, I'm going to do this, or I see this. I just wanted him to grow and to feel his way into becoming the player that he became.
Did you know right away, Sterling? I know he played his first year in Atlanta.
No.
You did not.
No,
Okay.
No. Nobody, none of us did. I mean, the thing is we knew the system was successful because we got to watch Joe Montana and those guys, Elvis Gerback, and those guys run the system, Steve Young. So we knew the system could be successful. I got to watch Jerry Rice and John Taylor run routes. So I knew the system had potential. We knew that one of the late architects of that system and Mike Holmgren was calling the plays. But no, we didn't know Brett was going to turn out to be the guy he turned out to be. He was fun. He had a strong arm, which was something that was different for that system. His arm was a lot stronger than Joe's, a lot stronger than Steve's, a lot stronger than Gerback's, a lot stronger than Steve Bono. So he could do things that those guys couldn't do. He could throw it in places that those guys couldn't throw it. But I think that's why you also had a guy who I think had the lead in the most touchdown passes thrown in NFL history at one time, but he also had the most interceptions thrown because of his strong arm. So, no, I didn't know. You know what? He was just another quarterback that I got a chance to play with, and he worked himself and worked his tail off to become the Brett Favre that we know today.
Hey, Sterling, was he always one of these off the wall type quarterbacks? With as through the years we got to see all the antics, and and with him being mic'd up, some of the comments he make asking referees, "Hey, do you have a left-handed football?" and stuff like this. Was he always that guy when you first got to meet him, or did that part of him evolve as he got more comfortable being a starting quarterback in the NFL?
If you forget the touchdowns and the yardage and the catches and the games and the belief that we could win a Super Bowl with him playing quarterback, he never changed. That's who he is. That's who he is. He was fun. He was fun loving. He loved playing football. He was prepared. So that guy just grew into that phenomenon that we got to know. But the thing is he never changed who he was. And that's what I appreciated most. He didn't come in, and once he became our solidified starter, he didn't come in and go, "Okay, guys, this is what," he was not a rah-rah guy. He was, "Hey, come on, guys, we can play better than this. This is not what we practice." He was that guy. He never changed. And that's probably the biggest thing that I appreciated in him in the 3 years that I got to play with him. And granted, I got to play with him when he was young. I don't know what he was like in year 5 or year 7 or year 12, but I know the first 3 years, he was just a fun-loving gunslinger that gave us, the one thing I can say about Brett is he gave us a chance to win. Sometimes he gave us a chance to lose, but he also gave us a chance to win.
Well, go ahead, Barry.
Looking at that, he's got AJ Brown. He has Devontae Smith, two guys, that he played with Smith, but I think AJ is going to bring that factor, almost that it factor that, all right, he's been in the league for 3 years. He can kind of settle him down a little bit and get to the open place of the field to help him out. Can you see, that kind of chemistry developing with him and AJ?
I'm going to say that AJ is going to come in and learn the system, Barrett, and I think that AJ is going to do everything he can to be the AJ we remember in Tennessee. But I don't think AJ is going to have a lot of in-game conversations with Jalen, because if you're talking to AJ, what are the other guys doing sitting on the bench? The tight ends are looking at you talking to AJ. Devontae's looking at you, so what are they doing? And you don't want to run the offense. When you see a guy open, throw it to him. And that's what we tried to get Brett to do. It was just that he was like, I could throw it to that guy and he'll catch it. It'll be a gain of 7. But if I wait another second or half a second and throw it to that guy, he'll catch it, run over a guy, and it'll be a gain of 27. So it's a very delicate dynamic for AJ coming to a new team. It's a very delicate dynamic for Jalen, having all this offensive firepower around him. You still have to orchestrate the offense. And if you don't orchestrate the offense, then none of that matters, because you're not going to get the best from each of those 3 guys.
Hey, Sterling, as you know, Philadelphia is a very critical market when it comes to critiquing athletes in general. What's the best advice you would give a Jalen Hurts in terms of tuning out the outside noise, the outside doubters, people who still question whether or not he's a legitimate starting quarterback in the National Football League?
I laugh at the people who say that, because, Baker Mayfield is sitting in Cleveland, and
that's right,
said he's not a legitimate, but he's one of the 32 best quarterbacks in our league. He's in our league. He's in the best league in the world. If I had any advice for Jalen, I would be say nothing. And when they ask you, say even less. I think the best lesson I learned as a player, and we're talking 400 years ago, but as a first-round draft pick in a small market where they love their football and they feel like they know their football, the best thing happened to me is I didn't talk. I did not have to defend how I played. And if you look at the first-round draft picks after me, the Tony Mandridges, the Vinnie Clarks, the Terrell Buckleys, the Tony Bennett's, the Daryl Thompsons, those guys got roasted because they were constantly having to defend how they were playing. And because I didn't, I think that helped me the most. So
Sterling, okay. Tone will get that straightened out, but we lost Sterling for a second. Sterling, if you can still hear us, We're going to try and reconnect. Our producer Tone will take the ball from here and see if we get. I think we got him back. Okay, Sterling, you're back. We just cut out for a second there. Yep.
Hey man, y'all need to pay your bills over there, man.
It's all Barrett. It's Barrett's fault, man. He's late on his bills all the time. You know
Hey,
that.
stop paying Barrett the big bucks and pay the electric bill. Yeah.
For real. Telling you, man. For real.
No, but you were saying, you basically just kept to yourself, and some of the other guys were out there constantly just trying to defend their play when they're at the early part of their career.
Jalen's heard it all. And what I always have loved about Jalen Hurts as a player, both in college and in the NFL, is he seems to be a real even keel guy. I mean, if you weren't really paying attention, you would probably think he doesn't kind of care. He just seems to be going through, I need to run this play. Okay. On one, ready, break. But the thing is that's his personality. And I'm going to ask him not to change. Be who you are, because it's gotten you this far. I mean, it's funny that a lot of people say, well, he's not a legitimate starting quarterback, but here he is, a legitimate starting quarterback.
Yeah.
What we as what you guys and what you do can help is stop comparing him to what Randall Cunningham or what Lamar Jackson or what Russell Wilson or Tom Brady. Stop comparing and just appreciate what you have right here. And you know what? I played with some quarterbacks that were in the NFL. I mean, Bud Keys and Anthony Dilwig is a lot of guys that people had never heard of. They were NFL starting quarterbacks. So while you want to minimize them because they're not Joe Montana and Troy Aikman and Steve Young or Tom Brady, they're NFL starting quarterbacks. And I think if Jalen, and he seems like a very self-confident individual, he seems like a person that believes in his abilities from what I see from afar. As long as he stays true to himself, when it's all said and done, guess what? He will look back on his career as a positive. I mean, I'm going to kind of compare myself after the game to Jalen Hurts. A lot of people say, oh my man, if you would have played longer, or if you would have done this, or man, Sterling, if you would have done this. And I'm like, I asked God for 1 year. I played for 7. I stole for 6. You want me to do more than that? I'm like, I feel real comfortable when I go to golf tournaments and I'm around the Tim Browns and the Jerry Rices and the Andre Reeds who played when I played that are in the Hall of Fame. I appreciate my career playing when they played. I'm not embarrassed by my career. I appreciate it. I'm like, wow, I played when those guys played. They were great players. And so I think Jalen just needs to do that. Just, you know what? You're planted in Philadelphia. Bloom where you're planted, man. You are there for a reason. I don't think Jalen Hurts is the Philadelphia Eagles starting quarterback by accident. And I think that he is exactly on the path that he's supposed to be on. And now he's just got to continue to grow.
Yeah, and just to remind folks how great Sterling was, just to reiterate, I mean, you're set by your second. No, by your second.
Remind people how great I was when I'm sitting here talking to you.
Yeah, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
No, right. You say how great I am, and then you add your stuff.
All right. So he is a great individual, human being, and his football days were okay too. So by his second year, he's over 1,400 yards receiving. He went over 14 in 92, over 12 in 93, and 1,194, which ended up being your last year. I mean, I mentioned it earlier, 5-time Pro Bowl, College Football Hall of Fame is number 2, is retired at South Carolina. I mean, it was one hell of a career, man. And you have nothing to be ashamed of.
It was great.
Oh man, we lost him again. Tone, let's
try
and get him straightened out one more time, man. But he was a beast. He was a beast. He's back. The beast is back. There he is.
Well, and
hey Sterling, maybe it's your cheap phone, man.
I ain't gonna have too many more cheap phones coming in. But no, it really was. It was an outstanding career that I enjoyed. I just wanted to play, man. I didn't care whether I was an all-pro or a pro bowler or, you know what, I just wanted to play in the National Football League. That's the only thing I ever wanted to do. So getting a chance to play for 6 years longer than I wanted to play, I think I won.
Hey, Sterling, when you talk about the guys you still see, the Jerry Rices, the Andre Reeds, because when you played with them in that era, you were playing at a Hall of Fame pace also. And as you sit here today, and I've seen interviews, you've been asked about this time and time again, but since it's on our platform, has it gotten out of your system that an injury cut your career short and you weren't able to achieve maybe certain things as a professional athlete, or is that just water under the dam now?
It was never it was never a problem. I
Okay.
mean, you know, I never looked at my career as being cut short
Okay.
because I played, like I said, I only wanted to play. And so I really prayed for 1 year, you know, and that's before becoming a first round draft pick and all that. I just wanted to play in the NFL. That's all I've ever wanted to do. So you're telling me I got a chance to play for 7 years. And now that I've been out of football for almost 30 years or 30 years or so, you're telling me I played at a pretty high level. I can't be embarrassed, upset, or ashamed of any of that. I really can't. Because you know what? I got a chance to play with some wonderful teammates. I got a chance to play in some outstanding systems. And I tell people all the time, 2 guys out of Glenville, Georgia, both playing in the National Football League. That ain't by accident. Now, that's not by design, but that's not by accident either. And I got a chance to do that, man. I went to bed when I left my last specialist office and I got back to Green Bay and I told my brother that I would never play football again. I knew I was going to be okay because I could go to sleep. It didn't weigh on my mind. I didn't lay in bed and toss and turn and say, oh, God, why me? Why did it happen to me? I'm right in my prime. I could know. If I could sleep, I knew I was going to be okay. And I got off the phone with my brother and turned on my fan and turned off the lights and went to sleep. And I knew I was okay.
Wow. You know, and a lot of people don't understand, you know, from that point, he gets a call from ESPN. So he hadn't been in front of a TV or did anything. And then all of a sudden, bam, he jumps right on TV. You know, he didn't do like I did, but he jumps right into it with everybody and became an animal.
And that was a great show, by the way.
It was. Great guys. They were great guys. Joe, Tom, Chris Berman, Chris Mortensen, Joe Theismann, and Tom Jackson, of course, great to work with. But you know what, Barrett? What's really funny is when you talk about, when I was talking earlier about the path. I mean, you're talking about a guy that, you know, finished playing football and then 7 months, 8 months later is working at ESPN on their #1 show. A guy who didn't talk to the media as a player, which I thought was actually kind of funny. It was actually kind of, and the thing is what's for you. I don't care what anybody does, you're going to get what's for you. And it was meant for me to go on TV, having not talked to the media as a player. And you know, the thing was I got a chance. I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no idea. I was prepared. I graduated from college. I got my degree. I was prepared to compete for a job, but I had no idea what field that was going to be in. And my path put me on a TV path, which, I mean, without ESPN, I don't meet Barrett. Without meeting Barrett, I'm probably not talking to you guys right now. So it's funny how if you get on a path and you just get out of your own way, it's amazing how wonderful things work out for you.
That's right. So what keeps you busy today? What are you doing primarily now?
Well, you guys bother me coming on TV doing this. I mean, you know, I'm out here trying to work on my golf game, but you guys don't care. Barrett don't care. He's like, hey, how about 2 o'clock? Well, you know, but no, I get a chance to do this. Talk to you guys, and I get to do some podcasts, and you know, and I get to do some public speaking. I play a lot of golf. I play in a lot of my friends' golf events to help them raise money for some outstanding causes around the United States. So I stay pretty busy, and it's funny. I stay pretty busy, and in the grand scheme of things, I stay busy doing nothing, but I'm busy doing it.
Sterling, I thought one of the coolest things with your brother Shannon, who was, you know, NFL Pro Football Hall of Famer, but one of the coolest things was when he won his first Super Bowl and he ended up winning 3 altogether. He gave you the ring. Well, right. Just tell us about that gesture and what it meant to you, and what words were expressed and everything else that went down there.
To me, it showed me that I was more important to him than accomplishing that team goal with his teammates, because at that point there are no guarantees he's going to go back to another one. There's no guarantees he's going to win another one. But I think that what helped them and him was his gesture of, that guy meant so much to me being here that I'm going to give him something that I think he deserves. And let me tell you, every day that I was on television, I wore that ring. And people would go, well, you didn't earn it. I go, but I have one. I said, I don't have blood, sweat, and tears in my Super Bowl ring. I have love in my Super Bowl ring. And, and I'm wearing mine because this guy loved me so much that he gave me something that he may never get another one of. And it was funny how people would try and shame me into not wearing it. And I was like, I'm a whole lot stronger than that, folks. So I have it, and I'm going to wear it. And every day that I was on television, I wore that ring.
That's very cool.
Unbelievable.
That's
man.
awesome, man.
That is really cool.
You guys talk about Ray Diddy and his notebooks. Well, working with Sterling, you had to come and cross your T's and dot your I's. And, we have these shot sheets that we have that you'll tell him what it is. And he would have this notebook. And he would start on Sunday night. And he'd come to work on Tuesday morning. And he had talked to probably 20 NFL head coaches. And what was ever in that little book was the only thing that he would say on TV. So I come up to and I'm looking at this. I'm like, look at this breakdown here. He's like, well, hey, Barrett, that ain't in my book. So I'm not saying that. That's how he did it.
It was a really good point you made.
See, there was one, Sterling. There was one he made. Yeah,
it was a really good point, but that ain't in this book. Guys, I was always, and I learned from Tom Jackson and Joe Theismann and Chris Mortensen and those guys. If you want to know what's going on per se on a weekly basis in Philadelphia or Green Bay, Wisconsin, or San Francisco or Buffalo, I live in Columbia, South Carolina. For me to get that information, I got to do some work because I wanted to be able to say, I think Jalen Hurts is the guy, or I think Jalen Hurts is not the guy. And when I talked to the Philadelphia Eagles, or when I talked to Buffalo, they said this. I want to be able to look those people in the eye and said, I didn't make this up. This ain't me talking. I'm using the words that I got from your organization. And because it was more important for me to be truthful and right than for me to just go on TV and yell and scream and to say you're crazy. And that ain't, hey, look, I played in the NFL. And, the thing is I didn't play in Pittsburgh. I didn't play in Tennessee. They didn't even have a Carolina when I played. And they didn't have a Jacksonville when I played. So in order for me to go on TV on a weekly basis to tell those fans about their team, I needed to call a Tom Coughlin who was in Jacksonville. I needed to call a Bill Cowher. I needed to call Mike Tomlin. I need to call a Bill Belichick. I need to call a Bill Parcells and have them talk to me about their team or what they see, a trend that I might not be seeing in the league. And it served me well for 20 years.
That actually happened. I was sitting there and I'm like, hey, look, but I saw this. He said, hold. Let me make this phone call. And he would call either Gruden, he'll call, hey, Grudog, let me talk to you for a minute, man. I'm sitting here, listening to these guys, and he said this and this and this just happened. And Gruden would say, yeah, we were trying to do this. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that he called it. That's not what we were doing. See, that's why I call people. And he'd be talking to the head coach while we're sitting there trying to make these, do these shows, So that book right there, if it wasn't in that book, he wasn't gonna say it, man. He was.
It ain't going on TV. That's right.
Well, yeah, and Sterling, your path crossed with Andy Reid for a couple of years, correct? You guys were in Green Bay together?
I was with Andy. I was with Andy for 3 years in Green Bay. Yeah.
How did you? I'll ask you kind of the same thing I asked you about Favre. Did you know at the time that this guy was going to be a head coach, or was it way too early?
The only guy I can honestly say off that staff that I knew was going to be a head coach was if the opportunity presented itself was Ray Rhodes because of our defensive coordinator and John Gruden. I mean, we knew John was going to be a head coach in this league because I would not have said that about Steve Mariucci. I would not have said that about Andy Reid, although Andy was probably the most like Mike Holmgren of all the coaches. I wouldn't have said that about Andy because at the time, he was growing into, he was our tight ends coach at the time before he ended up when Steve moved on, he ended up moving up. But the only surefire one that I would have put my life and reputation on would have been John Gruden, because he was, usually when you get a guy, and my college position coach played receiver in college. My NFL first position coach had been a receivers coach for, 6, 8, 10, 12 years in the league. Then I got Sherm Lewis, who coached Jerry Rice and John Taylor. Enough said. When I got John Gruden, it was different, because I was like, wait a minute. Okay. For me to be the player I want to be, I got to give him a chance. I got to hear what he has to say. What is he telling me? And the thing about John is he was like, I love what you do. I love what you bring to the table. I love how you do it. He was the first one who actually made me. I studied the other receivers, but I never adopted anything that they did. He was the first guy to make me adopt the release that Irving Fryer might have been doing in Miami, or Fred Barnett in Philadelphia, or, hey, you know what? As a 220-pound receiver, when you play inside, if you could do this release, he took my game to another level, because he was not a receiver. He was not, he didn't coach Jerry Rice and John Taylor. He studied me, and he wanted to make me better. So I had to respect him for that. And to this day, John is one of my good friends, because he earned the trust that a player would have in a guy that is going to see him every day and is going to be talking to him about the defenses he's going to be facing, the teams he's going to be facing. And John was able to bring out a side of me playing receiver that I didn't even know I had.
Wow.
Hey, Sterling, why are you not coaching in the game? You have so much to offer.
Because I play golf.
You can still play golf?
I ain't
Come
got
on,
time
man.
to be sitting in a meeting for 18 hours. Hey, my life is this. I get out of bed whenever I want to. And I come and I eat breakfast, usually out here at the golf course. And then I decide if I'm going to play, practice, or if I'm going to sit and play online spades. If I'm a coach, I can't do that.
Oh, my goodness.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Well, I really never considered coaching. I just never thought that I had that kind of patience. I really didn't.
Okay.
I didn't think I had because when I've never done anything half-assed. If I'm going to do it, we're going to do it 100%. And if I'm doing it 100% and you're not, it's not going to work. And so I just never really pursued coaching, because I really didn't want. I wanted everybody to have their own path, and I didn't want to ruin someone's path, because I didn't think, based on me playing football, I didn't think they were giving 100%. So it was probably best for me and them that I didn't become a coach.
Right.
Wow.
No, what's up?
And Barrett, wait. Before Barrett will tell you how I was at TV. In TV, I not only knew my job, but I knew everybody else's job,
Right,
and
right.
I'm dead set on holding everyone accountable to. This is what we're doing, and this is what we're trying to do. And I have a lot of respect for my bosses, but Barrett will tell you it ain't nothing but a phone call or a trip to the office for me that we need to talk about how we doing this, because this ain't working. And if I felt that it needed to change, Barrett will tell you I was prickish.
Hey, remember I told you about the shot sheets, right? It got to a point where if guy were messing up on the shot sheet, so you'd have to put your initials on the shot sheet that you did, so if it's something, so you'd be held accountable. He'd be we're at NFL Films, and he'd be on the show, and he'd say something, and he's just about to say it, and he said, that's not the right last name. And he'll say the right last name and keep going with the show. And you could tell he looked at the shot sheet. Okay. So as soon as that red light went out, straight to the we used to have to sit in the
control room.
We're sitting in the control room. And you think like, is that my shot sheet? Is that my shot sheet? They said like, I think it's my shot sheet. Guys will try to leave out that room. He beat him up the path. Oh, where you going? No.
I can make mistakes on TV. You can't. I can make mistakes. I can make mistakes on TV. But Barrett can't. Barrett can't make mistakes on calling him Lamar Johnson. What? No, hey, the thing was though, and those guys will tell you how much and we use the word love a lot, but those guys, and Barrett can speak to how much I love the people I worked with. I mean, I made sure that when you did something that was good, which was pretty much every week, I was letting you know. We would eat lunch together and talk about, this or that. I threw parties. I threw parties for my crew because I really understood how hard their jobs were. And I mean, I knew some of them were, I got probably, and I'm not taking any credit for Barrett, but I probably helped in calling the ESPNs and the Foxes and the CBSs. I probably got 14 people from NFL Network that I would like to say I kind of helped. But that's just, we were a team. And you know what? I can't be successful if you're not, and you can't be successful if I'm not. Mm-hmm. And if you want my recommendation, I'm going to be honest.
Right.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest about Barrett was sweating like a hooker in church. I'm going to be honest. But he really wanted to do it, and he worked himself into the analyst that he is right now. I mean, he's confident. He speaks strongly. He has an opinion, and that's the biggest thing about being in our business was if you had an opinion, could you say it with enough conviction to get people to believe you? And Barrett has that now. That's right. He didn't always have that.
No. You gonna show us?
He was the kind of Barrett was the kind of guy that would bring roses to a gunfight.
Oh man,
he was
Sterling.
He was too nice to be doing television.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, listen, man. Thanks for taking this much time with us.
You, man.
We really
Thank
do.
You,
it's been a blast talking to you.
Hey, man, anytime, guys. That Barrett's my guy, and like I said, I don't have a lot of friends, but the ones that are in my phone, I respond to. And it was nice to hear from him this morning, and it was a pleasure to come on with you guys.
Well, Sterling, thanks, man.
He also gave me my first pair of name brand golf clubs too, because I was playing in some golf clubs, didn't even have a name on them. He was like, "Come on, man, you can't play in those."
Hey man, send me your address. I'm gonna send you these 2 gift cards, man. Get you some golf clubs.
There we go again.
They're embarrassing me.
Sterling, thanks, man. Hit him straight. All right, appreciate it.
Guys, take care. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, man.
All right.